Oh my god, guess who's doing more book reviews? This guy. Oh my god guys, I'm really excited because I'm here to talk about Blood and Honey by Shelby Mahurin. So I only finished this a couple of days ago and I'm very keen to do this book review. But December and January are actually a really big filming time because there are so many things to wrap up and so many videos to make that you can't really get it all done with only 2 videos a week. So this is a bonus video for this week because I knew I wanted to film this video. I really want to talk about this book. I am excited to talk about this book, but I actually have 2 other videos that I also need to upload this week, so it's kind of like, what am I gonna do? So I know that my Sunday video is happening on Sunday, but this video and the other video I want to upload will probably happen whenever I feel like editing them, but it will happen at least within this week. But I am excited to talk about this book, and I'm also sad because so many people did not like this, and like, yeah, I only gave it 4 stars. I kind of understand where people are coming from with it, but I still really enjoyed it, and there's so many people complaining that they couldn't get through it, they thought it was so boring, they hated everything that was happening, and it makes me sad. Because Serpent and Dove was one of my favourite books of last year. I don't think this will make it on my list just because it wasn't as good. I will admit that. But I still enjoyed it. I still like the characters. I still had fun. And I'm excited to get into this review that will have spoilers in it. Definitely for book 1, but completely for book 2 because I want to talk about things because I feel like I can't review books anymore without needing to talk about every single detail of the plot that I shouldn't be revealing, but I'm going to. So I'm excited to get in this video, but definitely don't keep watching if you have not read this book yet, but I am keen. So this was definitely a filler book, like don't get me wrong, I can definitely see how it was, but it didn't even make me that mad. I actually liked that it was kind of a softer story because the first book was so like go go go, everything's happening, but this one was really nice because it was like a lot slower, a lot softer, and it was definitely more about the planning and the making of alliances and like figuring out where all the pieces on the board were going to sit. And it is really interesting to see them trying to like do plans and figure out stuff, and also trying to get people to join their side who have prejudice against witch hunters and against witches and against everyone. Like everyone didn't want to work with each other, and all these guys had to do was try and figure out a plan to make it work, because in the long run everyone's going to end up dying because Morgana's kind of crazy. So it was just really interesting, I think, to see the way that they handled each situation as well, of like what they had to do to try and get people on their side, and I've really enjoyed it. And I definitely think we needed this plot to make book 3 even better, because I know it was meant to be a duology and then it got extended to 3 books, and that's why people are annoyed because they feel like this was a filler and it was very boring and nothing really happened. But I think it has set up a really good development of like where the characters are going to be, but also just development of the characters in general. Like I feel like they've all come a really long way, and it's going to be interesting, like as I said, to see what happens in like book 3, because I feel like we're going to have a really epic conclusion and just a lot of fun stuff happening. The reason it didn't get 5 stars though is because I feel like I didn't really retain a lot of the book, though I can say I enjoyed it, but honestly reading this I feel like there was so much that I was just not taking in. And like even though I know all the characters and I know what the story was doing and ultimately I know what happened, I feel like my 3 brain cells just didn't want to align for me to actually retain what happened. And I'm annoyed because there were so many times that I'm reading and I just had to keep rereading paragraphs being like, what, like why are they here now, like what's happening? Like I was so confused, and I don't know why. It's a book 2. A book 2 shouldn't make you confused. So this is why it got 1 less star from me, and probably why I won't have that many thoughts, but like I have a lot of thoughts around Llewellyn Reid that I really want to get into. But other than that, I don't really have that much I want to say, so it's probably going to be a bit of a weird review, but I'm keen. I'm going to get into it and I'm going to enjoy it. So Llewellyn Reid, they had a lot to come to terms with in their relationship, and it was really interesting to see it unfold and develop, because in book 1 we saw them fall in love so epically and madly, and like it was my favorite because it was hate to love. It was done well. It's interesting, like having the both aspects of like a witch hunter, it's never gonna work, and they figured out a way to make it work. Like it was such an epic romance. And then coming into this book now, it's like the conclusion of after the happily ever after, where it's like, okay, now we got to deal with each other all the time. It's not just us falling in love and being in danger. Now we have to be in danger, fall in love, and figure out what we're doing in our lives. Like it's interesting to have to see that development with them. But in all honesty though, they are just so different, and I don't know if love is gonna be enough to like make it work well for them, because there's just so many things working against them. Reading it makes me so sad, but I do get it. I definitely get where it is coming from with them, and how like there's so many issues and how things can't work completely. Like Reid, he hates magic and he hates anything to do with magic, and like for him to have to change his bias so quickly just because he's fallen in love with Lou, who is a witch, is just very hard for him. It's a lot to come to terms with. And honestly, so much in his life changed. Like, as I said, his wife's a witch, his mum's a witch, his dad's the king. Like, he was just like one of those witch hunter dudes, like I can't remember the names, Chancers or whatever they were. He was just one of those dudes. He was a captain, he was chilling, and now everything has been flipped on its head, and he has so much to deal with now, and so much that he hasn't even begun to come to terms with, even by the end of the book, that he still needs to deal with. And like, he's not going to change overnight. Like, I still see him as a witch hunter who has to hunt witches. Like, that is his instinct, and he has been fighting that for so long now, because he's trying to see like the good in people and the good in witches, and they're just trying to not be who he was. But as I said, he can't change overnight. But he is just repulsed by his magic and hates it with everything in his being. Like, he just does not want to deal with that shit. But he loves Lou, and it's all it comes down to is his love for Lou. Like, he doesn't want to lose her, so he's got to embrace it to not lose her. But it's all happening, and it's just difficult for him. And Lou in this book has been using a lot more magic than normal because she's trying to protect the people around her, and it's so difficult because every time they get a step forward, they're pushed 3 back because they're trying to make alliances with people that hate them or don't want to go against her mother. And she is just trying with everything that she has got to try and make this better, to try and get her mother to stop, to try and get the king to stop, to try and get everyone to stop. And she is using everything she has, and she's getting so frustrated with Reed because he won't use the magic that he has to try and help and to try and fix it. And honestly, with Lou, I feel like this could almost be like a villain origin story, because she started to like become a bit darker in this book because her magic has been using so much from her, and they keep mentioning this descent that she's going into, and because if she kills her mother, she becomes the new queen witch, and she's gonna turn into like the mother, the maiden, the hag, or whatever the other one is, but like with their witch like lore and magic and everything, she could become evil. Like, this is where I'm feeling like the book could go. Like, I feel like most authors don't actually make their main characters the villains though, so it doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's always upsetting, but it's always like a good plot point. It's one of those things that you don't want to happen, but when it does, it's just like, man, that was good. But with the two of them, the arguments they do have in this book, I feel are completely valid. Like, they're trying to figure out how they fit in the world together, and it can be very difficult because like they love each other so much, but they want that love to be enough that they can still be themselves as like individuals, but also as a couple. Like, it's hard. I mean, every relationship goes through this, but it's just a bit harder when you're a witch and like another witch and just like everything. And like, they have said some horrible things to each other and like insulted each other and try to push each other away, and then they always come back to each other. And I do think that is the ultimate like love that they have between each other, is they're always going to come back. Like, they have found their match, and that's like who they're going to stay with. And if they break up, I'm going to be really sad, but I'm kind of also going to get it. Either they fit or they're not going to fit. Like, that's where it comes down to. And to all honestly, I feel like they really weren't in a healthy place in this book, and even by the end of the book, where they seem to have become closer and they've sort of kind of bridged a bit of the distance between them, I still think they're not at that healthy level that they need to be at, and I still have major hope. Like, I think it's gonna happen. Like, I think they're gonna be fine, but it's good to see that they're second guessing it and they're trying to figure each other out, and it's just really good. I feel like I keep rehashing what I'm saying. I'm sorry, but I'm just passionate about them. Just saying though, is Reed being controlled? Because like, who knows, because he keeps getting these voices in his head, and I don't know if it's his magic talking to him or his ancestors talking to him, but I feel like he is getting pushed down paths that he's probably just like, I wouldn't do that, but because of this weird voice going on, I'm like, is he being controlled? Like, it's probably not a thing, but I feel like it could be a thing, and there's just something there. Like, I want to know a bit more about that. And now we got to talk about Ansel, because I love him. He is my favorite character. He's the cutest little bean, and I just love him, and he just wants to help everyone, and he's just the little baby of the group. He's just the little child, and he's so adorable. Like, I know he's 17, but like, I see him as my son. Like, he is just the cutest little thing ever, and I just love him. And I am so mad that Coco was leading him on, because he had such a big crush on Coco, and then she was there like flirting with him all the time, and like she kissed him, and then she's like, oh, I didn't really want to kiss you, and then kissed him again. And I am not okay, because he is too young to be able to navigate this kind of flirting and this kind of attention from people like Coco, and it just makes me so sad that he was so used, and just like, he's the child. I love him so much. And then he fucking died. Like, I am not okay. Like, my heart literally broke. Like, I felt like something was gonna happen, and I was stressed, and when there was the whole prophecy of like someone close to you is gonna die, I'm like, it's not gonna be Reed, but like No, it's just no. Like, I can't accept this. I am not gonna accept this. Honestly though, if someone was gonna die, Ansel was the most likely choice because Lou and Reed wouldn't die. Coco's another witch and she's got the blood magic, and Bo was like the prince, and Ansel would be the most fucking devastating. So obviously they kill the baby. They're gonna kill the innocent fucking child. Like, I am distressed. Like, he should have had a full life and he was full of life. It just... I'm so sad. And also it was kind of foreshadowed too, because when Reed was stabbed and he was like about to die and Lou was trying to figure out a pathway to like fix him, there was a path between Coco and Reed, and then she's like, no, can't kill Coco. But then there was a path between Ansel and Reed, and she's like, well, and then she was like, oh no, I'm not gonna do it. But still, bitch was ready to kill him. Like, I am stressed, and I hope you think about that, Lou, and the fact that you called him a piece of shit before he died. And I know it was a tactic to try and make him leave, but just know that you were willing to sacrifice him, and then you called him a lot of bad names, and then he died. So I hope you feel good about yourself, Lou. I'm just so sad. Like, I didn't expect this, but I kind of did, but I didn't want to accept it. Stupid book, right? It's a stupid book. And then at the end, there was like a lot to unpack there, but I just made some dot points because, like, as I said, I did not retain a lot, so I made dot points of things I remembered. So Deverox, is that how you say his name? But Deverox, that weird little dude with his like little circus, is like a god. He is the Woodwose, and he has like magic, and his sister is like the goddess of the witches or something. And I think there was a story at the beginning of the book where they talked about the Woodwose and he was like a dragon or something, or maybe not that one. But like, at first when I was reading this, I'm sitting there like, who is the Woodwose? So like, I don't understand what this connection is. Like, yeah, there's something weird about him, but like, he turns into some like goat looking like devil man person. Like, I don't know, it was weird. But him and Morgana were in love, and he could have been Lou's dad, but then he like left because she was a crazy fucking bitch. So that is what happened there. But still, like, I am just like, what? Just like, imagine that. Like, he really likes Lou too, but also it is kind of his fault that Ansel died because he let Morgana go, and then she chucked a knife at the back of his head. So if he didn't do that, Ansel would have survived. So I hope they want to like get angry at him because it's low-key his fault. And then Madame LaBelle was left behind when Reed and Bo and her were captured, and like, we don't even know what's happened to her. Like, is she dead? Is she alive? What are they gonna do? Is the king gonna keep her alive because he still loves her? Or like, what's gonna happen there? Reed was actually so crushed, and I thought it was really nice because he's only known his mum for a little bit, but he really cares about her now, and I'm like, that is beyond sweet. But still, like, what happened to her? And then Lavosin, who is like Coco's aunt, was actually working for Morgana the whole time, and like, that is why Morgana always knew where they were, and she could drop off like incriminating notes and just kind of always be around. And that is just shit. Like, I thought they finally got the alliance, and that just means that that lady was okay with like part of her tribe dying because they were like the king's kids or some shit. And like, there's a lot of bad shit happening there. But I like, thing is, like, I'm really happy Gabby survived, but I would have preferred Ansel. Can't get everything though, but I was glad that Gabby survived because I'm like, you can't kill a child because she was only like 8. So that was good. But still, that was a betrayal I didn't see coming. And I also think they've used like a possession spell on Lou, and they've put Nicolina in her. And now I'm stressed because now Lou isn't Lou anymore. I think she's been controlled by that weird ghost lady, because I think it was her. Like, I think she's a wraith, but I'm pretty sure she has taken over her because she's there like, oh, we're gonna finally be able to like kiss the huntsman. And I'm like, well, that means she's probably in Lou. And then I am just don't know, because like, is Reed gonna know? Is he gonna know that that is not Lou anymore? And like, at the end of the book where everyone's all crushed about Ansel and sad about everything, and then she comes running out and she smiles, and he's just like, what? And then she like goes and kisses him, and then it ends, and I'm just like, does he know? Does he have an inkling that there's not his wife anymore? Like, are they gonna be able to fix it? Like, will Coco be able to figure it out? Like, something happened there, and it's left me on a cliffhanger. So like, Ansel died, and then I got this cliffhanger, and now I'm just stressed. Like, the end of the book is solidly a good like ending, and it's like really left me hanging, but I want the third book. Like, I need it. Honestly, it brought me a lot of pain, this bitch. Like, I really enjoyed it, and I actually had fun reading this. Like, it did take me a little while to get through it. It's because this is over 500 pages and it's a heavy book, so I kept putting it down just because like, I'm not strong enough to keep holding this up. But I need book 3. This was such a chaotic review, and I'm sorry. I hope you enjoy my thoughts and feelings about this book. I'm stressed. Okay, I'm stressed. But anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. So thanks for watching. I hope it made sense. But I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!